Hello everyone. Welcome to Zobrio University's webinar on FE Reconciling Subledgers. Today we have Elisa Irvin, a Senior Application Consultant here at Zobrio to lead the webinar. If you have any questions, please leave them in the chat, which is located at the bottom of your screen, and we will go all questions at the end. Thank you, and I'll now hand it over to Elisa.
Hello everyone. Welcome to Reconciling Financial Edge Subledgers today. We are going to focus on two in particular. These questions come up the most often, and that is accounts payable and payroll. If you have a moment, write down at the top of the agenda, you'll see Blackbaud Article 41893. Everybody has access to Blackbaud's knowledge base, and they have an excellent article out there on how to reconcile your general ledger to your subledgers. So a lot of today's information has come from that article, as well as some of the things that I've come across in my own personal experience with various clients. So we are actually going to start out with accounts payable today. There is what I like to call the simple reconciliation, and then there's actually a more detailed reconciliation process. So I'm going to show you both today, and then we will wrap up with payroll reconciliation. So when you're reconciling your subledgers in Financial Edge, there are a couple of things that you want to take into consideration, have written in your margins before you start the process. And the first is dates. Because as I go through this process, you'll notice on the agenda I have various reports listed. If there are variables in those reports, such as dates, you can run a report in your subledger and you can run a report in your general ledger. If the dates don't match, the data will not match. So that is one of those things that I get calls on regularly. Elisa, my balance sheet, my GL balance sheet account doesn't match my AP outstanding invoices. Most of the time, it's dates. The second thing you want to take into consideration, and this is two parts, is that if there is anything in your AP ledger that is not posted, so an invoice may be sitting in your AP subledger, but it has not posted. Well, it's going to show on your open invoice report in the subledger side, but if you were to run a GL report of posted items, it would not be there on the general ledger side. The second part of that is the inverse. If you have done a journal entry to adjust something on the general ledger side, these are the two most common issues when we have varying numbers in our subledger and our general ledger. Dates, unposted items, and or journal entries, because journal entries only post to the general ledger, they do not post to the subledgers. Okay, so I have there's a couple of ways we can design our reports to take some of that into consideration. So I'm going to jump right into my Financial Edge. I actually run in a test database. So you guys will notice I am running in 2015. Don't worry, you can run these reports in current years. It's just me. So let me go ahead and I'm going to move the agenda up to my other screen here, make sure I stay on track. And I'm going to take you right into Financial Edge. This is in the classic view. I highly recommend those of you who have FE NXT and have classic view. If you are reconciling subledgers, you want to come to your classic view. There are a lot of the subledger reports, like the account distribution report that I'm actually going to run here in just a moment, that you may not find over on the NXT side yet. Note my word yet, they're on their way. They're just not there right now, okay? So here we are, we're in accounts payable up here at the top. I'm actually gonna take you guys to home because this is really important. So once you're in your subledger, you want to come over here to your reports on the left. And then a couple of the reports that I'm going to be using are in different places. So you have reconciliation reports. This is the one I'm going to open first. It's the account distribution report. But then also under invoice report, you have your open invoice report. And I misspoke. I'm actually going to start with the open invoice report. So the open invoice report is any invoice that is open in your system as of specific dates. You guys will get so tired of me saying dates, because I have data in this test database from 2017 all the way through 2020. But I'm focusing on a fiscal year of 2015 because that's consistent data that actually came with my sample database. Okay. So I have an AP open invoice report. Notice my date, it's 12/31/15, so show me any invoices open as of this date. You can set these calculating dates. These you don't have to worry about too much. Down here, transaction date, you want to include all dates, and post date, you want to leave the first date open and then put in the end date of your fiscal year. And then due date, you can leave as include all dates. I always go through all my tabs. You can either click on your tabs up here or you can click the next button at the bottom. I don't have any filters on here other than I am looking for posted transactions, okay? And I don't have any format changes. I'm just going to preview this report for you. So this is going to give me a list of all my open invoices. There's two things that as accountants we always do here. We all do it. The first one is you want to go to the very last page and look at your total at the bottom, okay? There's my grand total. This is the number in a simple reconciliation that should match my AP liability account on my balance sheet, okay? The second thing that we as accountants do is eyeball the pages, okay? Because you know, if either you or your AP person knows what invoices they've entered, invoices that you might be holding on to for whatever reason that you're not ready to pay them. Possibly, in my case, I always got invoices before I actually received the items, right? Their billing department is stellar. Their shipping department might be a couple of days slower. So we might be holding the invoice just for that purpose until we actually receive the item and we can receipt the item. You know, so looking at this list, anything that's weird will jump out to you right away. That's number one. Well, total's number one. Check your list. That's number two. Your open invoice report total should be all the invoices that are open that are sitting in your AP liability account on your balance sheet. The simplest reconciliation is to take this report. In this case, I'm just going to grab a little snippy picture here. I just move it to another screen. You can print this out. You can print it to PDF, assuming everybody knows how to do that. I'm going to close this report. I'm going to leave accounts payable. I am now going to go to my general ledger. I have actually created in my reports, in my financial statements, and in my balance sheet, I actually have a report that's filtered down to just my AP liability account. And this is very specifically for reconciliation purposes. And whenever I work with clients who are reconciling their AP to their AR, we'll often save them a balance sheet for just this purpose, because I don't need to see everything else. I'm just trying to go through my reconciliation process. So generally we'll use our default template, which is all accounts. You can include accounts with zero balances and inactive accounts. And the reason is that I'm going to come here to my filters tab, right? And I have filtered this down to my Fund 1 and my 2000 account, which is my AP liability account. The other important filter here is that your not yet posted transactions needs to be set to none. Okay. I'm not going to worry about the columns. The one thing you do want to make sure on the columns is that's where you put your date. I shouldn't say I'm not going to worry about them. You definitely want to make sure that your date aligns right, with the date on the account payable open invoice report. And I'm just going to go ahead and preview this for you here. Ta-da. Notice when we usually run a balance sheet, we got tons of stuff in here, right? We've got all our assets, our cash accounts, payroll liabilities, all of that stuff. This is why I highly recommend you create a quick little balance sheet that's just your AP account for reconciling purposes. Because the minute I look at this report and I see that 26,230, and I look at my open invoice report and I see 26,230, this is why I call this a simple reconciliation. My open invoice report matches my balance sheet account, okay? Yay, I match. If I don't match, I'm going to go back and say what I said just a couple of minutes ago. It's one of several things. What happens if on my balance sheet report, I didn't have this date? I had the prior month, right? So it's 2015, but it's period 11. Well, now I'm going to be, well, in this case, it's all in there, so you kind of look out. But for most of us, our liability account would vary from month to month, right? So just know that those dates are really important. This is a simple reconciliation. There's actually a more detailed level of reconciliation, and that's what I'm going to bring up today. This is for the client that really wants to dig in and look at that account distribution. So we actually add a report here. There we go. To the process. And that report, I'm actually going to come back here to my little agenda so that you guys can follow me. Accounts payable, simple reconciliation, do an outstanding invoice report, and a balance sheet. Okay, and notice I said filtered to AP only. The little more detailed reconciliation includes an account distribution report. Okay. I don't have too many clients that run account distribution reports, but I will tell you it's a valuable report for reconciling and sometimes just kind of trying to figure out why something between your subledger and your general ledger might not be in complete alignment. So again, I'm going to come up here to accounts payable. I'm going to come over here. It's not under invoice, it's under, let's see, look, even I have trouble managing my accounts. Oh, my distribution report. It's under reconciliation. There it is. Excuse me. Notice I can come here and run my open invoice report as well. I can run it here or from here. It's the same report, guys. Just a heads up. We put it in two places, okay? But today we're going to run the account distribution report. And I have this one set up already. I have it set for my special year of 2015. And for my filters, I didn't want every single thing that hit AP. So for this report, I filtered it down to my liability account. Okay. On my format, I don't have anything special going on in my details or my headers, so I'm going to go ahead and preview. Okay. Here's the thing about an account distribution report. It shows you all your transaction information. It shows you your debits and your credits. It shows you what general ledger journal batch. So that GL transaction number, that's your batch number and your line number. So if you're trying to track something down, this is a great report because I don't have to go figure out what month, what batch. I can just go look right at my batch number. Okay. Obviously your transaction date and your post date. If I come to the end of this account, I have these really big numbers, right? Because I have debits and credits that have been happening in my AP subledger, my account distribution. However, if I take this number and subtract this number, I think I had an Excel document up here. Let's do a good old-fashioned Excel workbook for you. just auto sum. Where's my little auto sum? There he is. 19 to 27.50. And if I go back, that number actually ties. So this is the account distribution report. I know why. It will give you your debits and your credits in your AP liability account. So here's all my payments. Here's all my invoices. Okay. I'm not going to change because I do want to come back over here to general ledger. Oh, I'm sorry, guys. Actually, I want to grab a picture of that report for you. Hang on one second. Oh, I already jumped. Hang on. Here we go. Let's grab this. Okay. General ledger report. My general ledger report is in account report, general ledger, AP 2015. Okay. This is my GL. This is not a balance sheet report. This is a general ledger report that shows everything that's hitting any given account, and we'll see that on the filters tab here. I'm looking at 2015. And if you guys don't know this already, at the bottom of your screen, when you're in report, it will give you a detailed description of what every report captures. So in this case, transaction activity by account based on a wide variety of parameters over a range of accounting periods, meaning you can run a GL report over multiple fiscal years, okay? So just kind of keep that in mind. Not that you need to run a 12 or 18 or 36-month report, but from the GL report, you can, the general ledger report. Filters, 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 filters. So here I have my AP subledger, and I have not yet posted transactions, or no, not posted transactions. There's my 26,230, right? That's the ending balance in my AP account, remember? But now look at that 1927.50. That ties. I'm going to bring back my little Excel spreadsheet here. You ready? I think it's this one. There it is. That's the difference in my debits and credits for this fiscal year, right? So it's two pieces of the puzzle. Do my debits and credits match for my fiscal year? Yep. And that 26,230, that's right off my balance sheet. So not only have I balanced my open invoice report to my balance sheet, I've also tied out my debits and credits from my account distribution report in my AP subledger to my general ledger report to the same account over the same time period in my general ledger. So this is why this reconciliation process is a little bit more complicated. It's just another level of reconciling the two systems together, okay? So overall, AP open invoices to balance sheet, great, that's the nice simple one. Reconciling your debits and credits to your general ledger report is the next level. In this situation, everything matches. Yay. That's not always the case, right? In fact, more than 50% of the time, you are going to have to go and research why one of these two numbers, either the 19,227.50 or the 26,230, do not match what are on our open invoice reports and our account distribution reports in the AP subledger. So very briefly going to mention a few things that I've already mentioned, and I'm just going to highlight them. So dates. If any one of your dates is off by even a smidge, that's going to cause a problem. If there have been journal entries to the general ledger that obviously are not reflected in the AP subledger, that can throw your general ledger side off. And then lastly, this is the one I come across most often, and I'm actually going to take 2 seconds and show you a trick, is there's something sitting in your AP subledger that did not post. And if you've worked with me before, I've probably shown you this trick. But in accounts payable, if you come to accounts payable processing and you go to post to general ledger, most of my clients, almost everybody, has a set of parameters that they go to post, they select their parameter, and they post. Okay, great. It works 99.9% of the time. Every once in a while, there's going to be some weird filter. It's either a date, humans, right? We've inverted dates. We've done something with the filter, and it missed an invoice or 5. Don't worry about it. Come up here, do a new post parameter. It doesn't hurt anything. Don't put any dates. Don't put any filters. Don't do anything to it, although make sure that on your last tab it's preview, because if you've worked with me before, you know I've sent this to the printer too many times. And validate. This is going to give you a list of anything at all that is sitting in your subledger that has not posted. Now, remember, my database is a test database. There's a couple in there from 2015. See that? But mostly this is transactions that I've put in over time as I've been working through various scenarios with people. So just know that this is a great tool. Don't come here. Don't do this. I'm going to tell you right now, don't come here and do the one you already had, right, that you've been using time and time again. Don't do that. Go up here, do a new one. Don't put any filters. Don't even worry about the dates, and just validate. It's going to tell you every single thing that's in your subledger that has not posted. Okay. So that is reconciling accounts payable. We have about 5 minutes left. I'm actually going to talk you through payables or payroll. It's very, very similar. In fact, the reports even have the same names. So coming back here to my agenda, again, there's an account distribution report and there's a general ledger report. I find these two to be the cleanest for payroll, because a lot of the reports in payroll are employee driven, as opposed, I mean, the GL is in there and it does go, and there's lots of background stuff that happens. But when we're reporting on payroll, we're generally thinking about W-2s and filing our 941s. And so the system's kind of configured around that thought process. So for reconciliation, you kind of want to get back to those GL-oriented reports. So account distribution and general ledger report are the two that are very useful. And so instead of coming to accounts payable, you want to be in payroll. Same thing, report. I think it's in transaction reports. Yep, right there at the top, account distribution report. And again, I've already preset mine. I recommend if you have time and you really do want to reconcile your subledgers, take a minute, go set up your report. Do it with data that you know is solid and it's already tied out, perhaps in a past fiscal year, and get them designed. You don't have to go and set these parameters every single time. Once the reports are there, it's just a matter of running them, okay? This one, very simple setup. I have my payroll date. I did filter this down. This report can be quite long because we have a lot of payroll expense accounts. In this case, I have just filtered mine to salary here. Okay, I've filtered it down to one account, and I'm going to preview it for you. Just like the AP account distribution report, right? Except now it's payroll. Here's my payments. Again, GL transaction numbers. If I've got to go track something down, I know exactly which general ledger journal entry batch and line number. So this first one would be batch 689, and it's line 281 in that batch. Okay. I find that incredibly helpful. And I come down here to the end, and it tells me I've got 143,000 in debits, and I've got a total of 1.4 million. Okay. And this is just in, notice this report, just this one account is 19 pages. And it breaks it down into each of the subs. So these are all the 5,000 accounts, but there's an 01 and an 02 and 03 and 04, all the way to 07. Okay. Same thing, we come over here to general ledger. Oh, sorry guys. Snipping. I'm gonna go grab my snipping tool. Grab the end of this for you. I come up here to general ledger. Reports. I'm already in reports. General ledger report. Here's my payroll run. I have one for AP, I have one for payroll. This is nice. I can just say, give me a specific fiscal year, right? My filters here. This one is critical. See here under journals, see how I said payroll only? This helps if I've got any journal types in there, like journal entry, instead of coming from the payroll, it's gonna remove them, okay? So I wanna show you what this looks like first, if I run it with all. And there's, I'm running it on the 001, just that one portion of the salaries, okay? And you can see, here's my journal types, right? Payroll, journal entry, journal entry, journal entry, journal entry. Okay, see my numbers here? 1,139,000. Okay. Watch what happens when I get rid of all of those journal entries. See how it all says payroll here in the column? There's my 179,745 for my 0100 50001. I'm gonna snip that. I'm gonna go back. I'm actually going to filter this down to the same account. So critical, right? Making sure that everything matches up. If it doesn't match up, it's not going to match. 179,745. 179,745. We match. Now, if I've got journal entries, right, it's not going to match. So those are things you need to take into consideration. And there are ways for you to document it. You can run the report with journal entries and then with your subledger journal type only and have them together so that you can see the variances. But just know these are some of the ways we track down those transactions. And this account distribution report, like I said, I can come here and I can look up my journal entries. So between the accounts payable and the payroll, there are several reports that you can run to reconcile your items. I'm sorry, I went a couple of minutes over, but it's such an important part of our accounting process. Some do it every month, some do it every quarter, some only do it, before their audit, which is fine. Just know this Blackbaud article 41893 actually goes through details, and you can click on links to how to design the reports that I just showed you today. And that these reports, your outstanding invoice report, your account distribution reports in AP and in payroll, and your general ledger report in AP and in payroll. Those are all the things that you will need to balance your subledgers. So at this point, I know I've been talking at you guys for over 30 minutes. Does anybody have any questions? Okay. Well, with that, I hope everybody has a great afternoon. If you have any questions about or need assistance with reconciling your subledgers, reach out to Zobrio, and I'm sure we will connect somebody who can help you through the process. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. A recording of this webinar will be made available shortly.